All right, let's jump right into this. Back in 2015, Nepal put together this incredibly ambitious plan. And we're not just talking about a simple tech upgrade. No, this was a full-on blueprint to reshape the entire country into a digital society. So in this explainer, we're going to dissect that vision. And this quote right here really gets to the heart of it all. This was never just about getting faster internet or shiny new computers. The core idea, the real driving force, was to use technology, what they call ICT, as a powerful tool to fight poverty and to kickstart sustainable development across the board. So they gave this whole vision a name, Digital Nepal. The goal was to make a huge shift, moving away from a traditional economy to create a society where knowledge and information are the real currency, the things that drive growth, create equality, and push progress forward for every single person. Okay, so here's how we're going to break down this blueprint. We'll start with the big dream and the specific goals they set. Then, we'll dive into the three main pillars holding it all up: infrastructure, people and the economy, and governance. And finally, we'll take a look at the challenges they knew were on the road ahead.
You know, a vision is one thing, but what's so impressive here is that they put hard numbers on their ambition. They set these clear, measurable targets that they wanted to hit by 2020. This turned a lofty dream into a set of actual, concrete missions.
First up, and this one is just massive, get broadband internet to 90% of the population. Now, when you think about the terrain in Nepal, we're talking about the Himalayas. This wasn't just a goal. It was a monumental challenge in both engineering and just getting it done. They were also really smart about this. They knew that just building a digital highway wasn't enough. I mean, what's the point if nobody knows how to drive on it? So the second major target was to make sure 3/4 of the people had the skills to actually use all these new digital tools effectively. And then there's the economic piece of the puzzle. The goal here was to grow the tech sector so much that it would make up 7.5% of the entire country's economy. That's a huge leap, basically taking tech from a background player and putting it front and center as a main engine of the economy. All right, so how are they going to hit those big goals? Well, it all had to start with Pillar 1, infrastructure and access. This is the absolute foundation. We're talking about building the actual digital highways, the fiber optic cables, the cell towers, the access points for the whole country. And their approach had a few different angles. Of course, they had to build out the main national network, but they also had some really creative ideas, like turning old post offices into new community digital hubs. And a huge focus was on connecting rural and remote areas, and also getting all the regulations in line for telecom, IT, and broadcasting, which were all starting to blend together. Now, this is a part of the strategy that I think is just brilliant. Instead of digging up the ground twice, the policy basically said, hey, from now on, whenever we build a new road or lay a new power line, we're going to put fiber optic cable in at the exact same time. It's such a smart, cost-effective way to expand the network like crazy. Okay, so once the foundation is in place, you need the engine to actually make things go. That brings us to Pillar 2, people and the economy. This was all about developing the skilled workforce and the business environment that could really thrive in this new digital world. You can really see the logic here, almost like a set of dominoes. It all starts in school by bringing tech into education. That creates a skilled workforce. Those skilled people can then go on to build and work for local tech companies. Once you have that ecosystem, you can fire up things like e-commerce, and then use all of that power to boost major parts of the economy, like agriculture and tourism. And this part shows just how forward-thinking they were being. They didn't just want to help existing businesses, they wanted to create brand new ones. By planning for a venture capital-style fund, the government was looking to directly invest in and grow a whole new generation of Nepalese tech startups.
So, you've got your infrastructure, and you've got your economic engine. The last piece you need is the framework. You know, the rules of the road, the security systems, and the government services that make a digital society work safely and efficiently for everybody. And this pillar covered a ton of critical stuff. It was about moving government services online, e-government, but also about building people's trust by really tackling cybersecurity. It got into the nitty-gritty of setting standards for hardware, figuring out what to do with electronic waste, and, maybe most importantly, creating rules to protect people's data and privacy.
And this is so crucial. The plan wasn't naive. It totally understood that when you create digital opportunities, you also create digital risks. Setting up a national cybersecurity cell was a clear sign that they knew, as they were building all this valuable digital infrastructure, they also had to build a strong shield to protect it.
Of course, a plan this huge doesn't happen in a perfect world. The policy document itself was actually very realistic about the hopes it was built on, and the very real hurdles it was going to face.
And this slide really lays out that balancing act. For the plan to work, they were assuming they'd have political support and that the public would be excited about it. But the risks were massive. Things like government red tape, chronic power shortages killing momentum, and the very real danger that a market-led approach could leave rural areas even further behind, making the digital divide worse, not better. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The 2015 ICT policy was, without a doubt, a brilliant blueprint for the future. But having the plans for a house is a completely different thing from actually building it. It really makes you think about the incredible challenge of turning such a powerful national vision into an everyday reality that actually changes millions of people's lives.